Tommy Scoville, and you're on the lifeboat. Alrighty, everybody, give me one moment as I am going old school. Mark has the night off, so we're Tommy Scoville. Volume. Sorry. Let me get that under control. Let's see. I think we got it at the setup. I see Leisure Beast. I see Joanna W. Joanna, so good to see you. Alan Ballantyne, I love you, my brother. Let's see. What else have we got? Lady Fiona Crispin, always a pleasure. Seventh Son, boy, oh boy, are you faithful. Niall, great to see you, bud. Really happy you're here. Okay, kitty, right there in the basket. All right, let's get this show on the road. People, since I am going old school, you know the drill. I need to do the usual voodoo. So, since we are going old school, I am not a doctor. Any advice that I give should never be taken in lieu of advice from your doctor. There is nothing that can take the place of a doctor's advice. And if you're getting sober, you should probably seek the advice of a doctor before you do so. It's the best possible case scenario. Stacy Michaels, good to see you. Love the books, by the way. Love them. There's nothing better than the advice of a doctor. Make sure that you can seek medical advice if you're getting sober. It's a great idea. People, here on the lifeboat, there are some things that we do not do. One of which is talk about politics. Quite simply, we don't do it. I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. There's no room for it here. Plenty of places you can talk about politics. This isn't one of them. Also, we could talk about religion. You can say that God has saved your life. You can say that you're praying for somebody. What you can't say is that your God is better than their God or our God. And don't tell people that they're not going to get to heaven because of X, Y, or Z. None of that's going to fly. So let's keep that out of this conversation. Jesse, good to see you. 40-foot garbage man. Great to see you. Kiss Freak. I'm sorry. Lord Kiss Freak. Always a pleasure. Really it is. Also, no cursing in the comment section, or better than that. We can let other channels do the cursing. We're not going to do that here. There's no reason for it. You know, we're better than that. Miss Hermit Hill, Kentucky, always a pleasure. Flamin' Jackson, good to see you, bud. Rip Curl Readiness, awesome. Joe Birdwell, I'm glad that you're here, Joe. I really am. So, last but not least, we don't do mean. If you want to be cruel to individuals and say things that are going to hurt people's feelings or whatever, do it somewhere else. Here, that will get you kicked out of here. If you created your channel yesterday or 15 minutes ago, we're probably a little weary of having you here because it's difficult to find the lifeboat that fast. And very oftentimes, when we see an account that's less than a couple of days old, it's more often than not a troll, and that's unfortunate, but it's the truth. So we don't allow it. People, speaking of we don't allow it, it's not funny, but speaking of we don't allow it, we're a caring, loving bunch of people here on the lifeboat. We really are. And for that reason, there are certain things that I have done everything within my power to steer clear of. One of them is GoFundMe pages. I don't bring them up on the lifeboat, ever. And the reason is it's impossible to chase them down and make sure they're legit. And because we're so caring and loving a group of people, we want to make sure that no one gets taken advantage of. And we've seen some situations in the past where people have gotten taken advantage of by con men, shysters, hucksters, whatever you want to call them. That being said, Cindy, good to see you. Cindy Lou. There are times when every rule needs to be broken. It's just the way it is. If you saw the subject matter tonight, it's family. And Joe Birdwell is a part of our family. He's a member of the lifeboat in good standing. He's been very honest with us, done some interviews, and came back and told us that he was having a struggle, and the struggle was gambling. And that's good stuff. It really is. It's the best possible case scenario for what we do. For someone to be honest and talk about, I'm sorry about that noise. My cat is having a field day. Hold on a second. There you go. Go get that thing. So A tragedy happened to Joe Birdwell's family yesterday. And what happened is his mother's name is Deanna. Deanna lost her home completely. And when I say completely, I mean completely. There is nothing left. And in the process of this fire, she lost absolutely everything. There is a GoFundMe page that is attached to this. I am going to ask Joe Birdwell to post that on the lifeboat page. And although I don't do this, I'm doing it. And here's why. Before anybody gets cynical and says, he mentioned a gambling addiction, people, I would never ask anybody to do anything that I wouldn't do myself. And I would never ask anybody or put anyone in a situation that is a bad situation, a bad setup, And I hate to be this guy, but I'm this guy. I'll be really honest and take this in the spirit that it's intended, people, because that's the only way that this is going to, this has to come out the way I want it to. I researched this. I did. And not because I don't believe Joe, because I do. Joe's never lied to me. He's been a very, very honest cat from the first day that I met him. However, to come on here and do what I'm going to do right now, I don't care who you are. I don't care if it was my brother. Well, it was my brother. I don't care if it was my birth brother. I would have researched it. I would have done a little research. I would have taken the time to make sure that everything is according to Hoyle. Because I am going to recommend to people at the lifeboat that if you're in a position to help, that you do so. Deanna literally got out of there with the clothing on her back. And I went as far as reaching out to the fire department that worked on this. If that sounds messed up, people, you have to understand that in the past we've had people whose stories put tears in my eyes. I was hurting for people only to find out that the story was false. This one isn't. Everything about this story is true, and this is a horrendous situation. To lose every single thing you have. Everything. Thank the Lord, she didn't lose her life. And that is a blessing. But aside from that blessing, she has to start from scratch. And I mean from scratch. There is nothing that survived this fire except her. And yes, I would never, Yes, I would never make something like this up. Of course you wouldn't, Joe, but you have to understand that as the captain of this boat, when I come out here and do this morning when Joe told me about this and I said I'm going to talk to the group about it, I don't do this. I don't. And I'll tell you what, people, I don't intend to do it in the future. I really don't. You have to understand why. This opens us up to a horde of bad things. If you think about it, the lifeboat could become the FundMe page boat overnight. Think about it. There are 2,000 people and some change on this boat. So if you just start doing math, everyone is always in a situation that, could use some help. And as a rule of thumb, I have said from Jump Street, we're just not going to do it. And I still feel that way, but not today. There's an exception to every rule. This is the exception to the rule. Deanna lost everything, people. She lost absolutely everything. It's difficult to post something like that here, so Joe will post it in the lifeboat. If you're not in a position to help, don't. I'm gonna lead this off. I'm gonna tell you right now. I'm gonna go over and I'm gonna donate because I can't imagine losing every single thing I own. I have been blessed lately. You people know that these days, as a way of making a living, what I do is I buy and sell watches. And the last one that I bought and sold, I did really well on. And I'm going to be able to do a little something for the family. Not as much as I would like to, but I'll be able to do something. And if it touches your heart in a way, then I would recommend that you do that. It doesn't matter the size of the donation. It really doesn't. What it matters is that that you care. People, if you're not in a position to do that, then thoughts and prayers, a stink load of them, would be appropriate. Thoughts and prayers for Deanna. This is something that is important. It's important to me. Joe is family. The title of tonight's video is family. I didn't do that because of what's happening with Joe, but make no mistake about it. I view this man as family, and I know that you do as well. Joe has been pivotal on the lifeboat. He has gone out of his way to be brutally honest. The first interview he did touched so many people's lives. The second one that he did also touched so many people's lives. But what really impressed me more than all of that was when he came onto the boat and said, I slipped and I'm back. You know, I'm messing up again. This time it was online gambling. And he was very open and honest and came here and he talked about that. And I think that that's awesome because everything starts with honesty. And I can honestly tell you that this situation is legit, and Deanna needs help. So please go over to the lifeboat group page when this is over. It'll be there for the next, however long. But if you're in a position to do so, please do. Joe, I love you, brother. I really do. We're going to do what we can to help your mom because she's got that coming. Listen carefully, Joe. Get your ass back on the lifeboat. Sorry about my language. Get your ass back on the lifeboat. You need it. Sorry. I apologize, people. I apologize for my language. But Joe, you need to be here. Be here. You understand? Be here. You start feeling like you're slipping, get back here. Right? I want to see you here, Joe. I want to see you here, Joe. I really do. It's important. I'm sorry, but that's the way it is. So I apologize for my language, but you need to get back on the boat and you need to stay on the boat. Life was very good when you were here. I would like your life to be very good for the rest of the time that you're on this planet. Get back on the boat, stay on the boat. People, today's subject matter is going to be family. We have talked about this many times in the past. There are two very distinct kinds of family. One of them you're born into. And you can't pick and choose the family that you're born into. Some of us have been incredibly blessed with the family that we've been given. I'm one of those people. One of the reasons people, as you know, this isn't a religious channel, and you know what that means. It doesn't mean that I don't talk about God because it's too much a part of my life to not talk about. I'm not a hypocrite. I'm not going to pretend that I don't believe in God to keep everybody happy. I'm going to tell you what my life is. I'm not going to tell you that what you believe is stupid. I'm not going to tell you what you believe is wrong, and I'm not going to tell you how you're not going to get to heaven or you're going to get to heaven or any of that. That's way beyond my pay grade. But I will tell you what I believe because it comes up. It's something that comes up. And I read the Bible. And when you read the Bible, you read about the way that God loves everybody, regardless of the things that they do. And, there are people who believe in God, who like to lecture you on how poorly you're doing in life. And it turns people away from religion in a very, very big way when someone happens to say, this is what you're doing wrong, this, and this, and this is why you're not going to heaven, and this, and this. It's obnoxious. It's absolutely obnoxious. But one of the things that you read about, if you believe in the Holy Book, the good book, is that, God forgives sins. I was blessed into a family that did. I owe my family more than words can possibly explain because they never turned their back on me when they had 2 million reasons to turn their back on me. When I was a liar and a thief and everything that I did affected them. I'd love to tell you I never stole from my family, but if I told you that, I'd be lying. I would love to tell you that I never lied to my family, but that would be another lie. And I lied to my family. I stole from my family. I cheated my family. I did everything wrong that you could do. And when the time came that I got busted for bank robbery, I'm not going to tell you that they weren't devastated. I'm not going to tell you that it didn't damn near kill them. But they stood by my side. And they were there for me through that entire process. The reason I'm telling you this, people, is because that's the way family is supposed to be. Now, you might not have been blessed to be born into a family like that. It is a really amazing thing if you get that kind of blessing and that kind of luck. Because let's be honest, that's luck. But we can create that here. You understand? if the family that you were born into doesn't live up to your expectations, then the best thing that you can do is live up to the expectations that you set in this family. And I'll tell you something, I've seen it. I've seen it. I really have. Trish, that's a beautiful thing to say. And I'll tell you what, they're a lot more proud of me today than they were, no question. And I think that there was a period of time, people, that this was a difficult thing for everybody to understand. Understand that what I'm about to say is not, hell, I don't even know how to explain this. But what I'm about to say, take it in how it's intended. No complaints. But what I do here takes up a lot of time. And what I do here, make no mistake about it, this is not a way to make a living. It's not. Under the best of circumstances, if this boat grows to 2 million people, this is never going to be a way to make a living. It's not. And I'm not complaining. You understand that. But if you view this from the outside, and the person who does this and takes 50 hours a week to do it is your son or your brother or your dad, this was a difficult pill to swallow for family. This is something that I think they looked at and thought, holy God, man, go back to doing what you used to do. Because if you put 50 hours a week on the telephone selling stock or selling whatever you're going to make an awful lot of money. What I do here is a very deep and meaningful thing to me. And I probably take it more seriously than most people realize. It's the truth. I'm not bragging or tooting my own horn. But in the last 2 months, month and a half, 2 months, everyone who loves me got it. Like it finally clicked. And I really wish I could tell you the story of why it clicked, but I can't. Because it involves people on the boat and but what I will tell you is that some of you on this boat who reached out to me in certain situations touched my family in a way that, like, the light bulb went off. And I think they finally really got a handle on exactly what it is that I do here and how important what I do here is. It's a beautiful thing. But if my family did not, birth family, if my birth family did not support this, it would not stop me from doing what I'm doing. So we're in a really unique position to engineer this family to meet all the shortcomings of that family. You understand what I'm saying? We have the ability to care for one another in such a way that people, if you feel like you got screwed in the game of life when it comes to the family that you got, and make no mistake, there are people who were. There are people who were born into families where their parents abused them. There are people who were born into families where they were molested. There are situations that are so awful that it's difficult to articulate. It's hard to even talk about. But we got a second chance. And I really hope everybody gets a handle on that. I hope that you really understand the chance that this is, right? The lifeboat is a chance to create what you didn't get. Or if you got it, it's a chance to take what you were blessed with and pass it on to people that weren't blessed with that. Tonight, Mark isn't here. And the reason that Mark isn't here is because of family. There is something that has come up in Mark's family, and before I badmouth Mark, because that isn't going to happen, Mark bent over backwards to try to get on this live feed. Right before I went live, he reached out and said, hey, I'm ready to go. People, he wasn't ready to go. He wasn't. And what's going on in his life with his birth family is important, and he needs to handle it. But this family means so much to him that he was ready to pull the trigger and jump onto this and neglect his birth family in the process. It says a lot, not just about Mark and not just about, commitment or any of those things. It says a lot about the lifeboat. This is, I'm sorry, hold on. I'm one of them. I got used and abused for 40 years. My family took their last breath cursing me out. Trish, that's heartbreaking. That's heartbreaking. It really is. It's difficult to put into words how sad that is. But I can make you a promise. That is not going to freaking happen on this family. It's not going to happen here. It's not. The best part, truth says, you don't get to choose your birth family. We get to choose the family of the lifeboat. That's right, people. And I really hope all of you get a handle on just how unbelievable that is. Really. I hope you get a handle on just how important that is. Hold on, I'm sorry. There are people who go through their entire life lamenting the family that they were born into. And it's more than anything else tonight, what I want you to get is the gift of what this is. This thing of ours, right? The gift that this is. And I certainly am not tooting my horn. Really, I'm not. But what we have put together here is incredible. It really is. It's incredible. You know the proof of it, honestly? There are 3 people today who I discussed Joe Birdwell's situation with. And I'm not making this up. 2 of them were in tears. They don't know Deanna or Dina. Is it Dina or Deanna? I'm sorry, either way. They don't know his mom. They're never going to meet her. They were in tears. Because we're family. We really are. Joe left the boat for a while. You know, he tried another method. We're in any other family, that might have cost them, right? In any other family, that might have cost them. You'd have people backbiting and doing all of that crap that makes families awful. The kind of thing where, you bring up Thanksgiving meal and you have people all over the country that goes, oh God, thank the Lord, that's only once a year. I can't imagine if I had to do that more often. But the family we have here, the ability to pick a family. People, if you gave me the pick of the world, of every single person that I could choose to build a family, I'd pick Charlie Mullins. I'd pick Jesse Brown. I really would. I'd pick Leisure Beast. These are people, all of you. There's nobody here that I wouldn't choose. Bent Genetics, good to see you, bud. There's nobody here I wouldn't choose. And I guess I have, right? In a way, I really have. This is the reason, people, that this is the reason we went screaming over to Facebook for a little while. And I was talking about this last night. That was a mistake. Right here. Mea culpa, right? My fault. That was a mistake. Walking away from YouTube for the period of time that I did it, that was a mistake. I swear on everything holy, I did it because I was trying to protect the family that we have. I did it because I wanted to keep all of us safe. But you know what? That doesn't work. That doesn't. That's fine and dandy if all we want to be is this family. Last night a comment was left by somebody, and please, if you hear this, reach out to me. Please. A comment was left by somebody that said, I'm just like the story you just told. I know that I'm going to drink myself to death if something doesn't change. And I said, hey, here is my email. Please reach out to me. He hasn't yet. But if we stayed on Facebook, I never even would have had a shot at it. This family offers unconditional love and acceptance. Birth families sometimes do the same, but sometimes not. Either way, this family is always here. Niall, great comment. And I want to tell you something, people. If you had asked me 45 days ago, I would have told you there's no way I would have chosen Niall to be a member of my family. But today I'd fight for him. And I don't use that as an expression. I'd fight for the man. I'd jump in there quick as hell and be ready to go. And you know the best part? I'd have a bunch of people with me. I'd have a bunch of people that would jump in that fight with me. You see, people, we're damaged. We are. We're the island of misfit toys. Make no mistake about it. We're the island of misfit toys. Right? We're all slightly damaged. But I've said this before. I'll say it again. And I promise you it's the truth. We're not as good as everybody else. We're better. We really are. And I don't just mean the lifeboat. I mean people who survive addiction. Because when you get through that crap, when you're done, well, you know what you drag with you? Compassion. Understanding. Those are things you cannot be taught. Those are things that you have to learn. I'm sorry, those are things you can't be born with. Those are things that you have to learn. They're things that you have to be taught through the most rotten lessons in life. The reason that so many people in society don't seem to get it is because they've never had to put up with the crap that the average addict has had to. I've said this before, man. I've said it before. When I see a wino on the side of the street walking down the road, drunk at 6 a.m. in the morning, and he's talking to himself, I get it. I get it. And not because I'm a compassionate guy, and not because I have a huge heart or any of that garbage. It's not what it is. I've been there. I've been there. I've had many a 7 o'clock in the morning when I needed it. I wasn't going to get through the day without a drug. I wasn't going to make it to noon without a drug. There have been so many times in my life that the drug dealer who stopped selling at 8 o'clock at night, for whatever reason, stopped selling at 6. And I had to go that 24 hours or 16 hours until the sun came up before he opened again. In misery. Sick. Throwing up. Defecating yourself. Just violently sick. It's awful. There's nothing good about it. The only thing about that is that it leaves an imprint on your soul. It does. That kind of life leaves an imprint on your soul. And now when somebody leaves a comment in the comment section that says, you know what, I'm hurting, the rest of the world might read, I'm hurting. I'm back there on that day where I was throwing up and I had to go 16 hours before I could possibly get any relief. I'm right back there. I'm back there the day that I realized I was addicted. The day that I realized I could not live without this substance. That leaves an imprint on your soul. And it's what puts us all in the same boat. You understand? We didn't call this the lifeboat because I wanted to wear this hat. We called this the lifeboat because all of us literally are in the same boat. Right? We're all in the same boat. The way we got here doesn't matter. It doesn't. There are people on this boat who were born with a silver spoon in their mouth. You might not know the story, but I know the story of most of you. And there are people on this boat who were born with a silver spoon in their mouth. And their life led them down a path where all of a sudden they found themselves addicted. And there are people on this boat who have every other version of story you could come up with. From the amazingly wealthy to the incredibly poor to the amazingly well-educated to the people that barely got through elementary school and every single person in between. Truthfully, but we're all in the same boat. And the amazing thing is that no matter who you are or where you fall on that spectrum, the one thing that always seems to come through that process is compassion. It's the one thing that drugs don't seem to burn out of you. And you realize, people, that when I say drugs, I don't care if you drink them, smoke them, snort them. They're all drugs. They're all drugs. We're a family because we choose to be a family. That's beautiful. That really is. Day one of sobriety is important. I understand that. I don't want to undermine that at all. The next days of our lives is just as important, and the struggle changes. We need each other. You're absolutely right. And it's a good comment. It really is. Because, and we've touched on this many times, but there's that epiphany moment. I'm going to quit. Right? It's a big deal. And you make that decision and you grit your teeth and you're ready to go. And then life sets in. Right? Then life sets in. You know? All of a sudden, you're the same person, but now you got to go this alone. Well, you don't. Honestly. The amazing thing about what this boat is that every single person who's ever been addicted to drugs was alone. I've said it before. Even if you had 500 people with you, you were alone. That's the nature of drug addiction. You were alone. Now, on the flip side of that, you're not. You're not alone at all. There is a group of people here that care enough to show up every day. A group of people that care enough where if you miss a few days, they're going to try to track you down. That's magic. It really is. It's magic. People, I don't want anybody on this boat to shortchange anything that I'm saying when we talk about family. Honestly, I can put up with a lot of things, right? I've been accused of everything from being the second gunman on the grassy knoll to bestiality. The people out there have had a field day with me. It's all good. It really is. I'll tell you the one thing, people, that I would really lose it. This family, I love you people. That's no joke. And there are occasionally you get the jackwagons that talk about how the only reason I do this is money. Truthfully, this is their battle cry. This has all been a hustle for me to make money. If you knew anything about YouTube, you would laugh with me on that. But the point is this, people. The point is, I truthfully and honestly do this because of the crew that I met when I started. It's awesome to have people that don't judge you for your failures. They can relate and still encourage. Thanks, Lifeboat. Joe, we're happy you're here, man. We're happy you're here. But I want to tell you something. The people who got here right in the beginning, Seventh Son, Charlie Mullins, Lord, Kiss Freak, Fiona got here about a month late. Chi-Chi was here right in the beginning. All of those people that got here right from Jump Street, they were so ridiculous. I won't speak for everyone, Tommy, but I love you and I fully support you. Thanks, Truth. It means the world to me, man. It really does. Alan Ballantyne, another one that got here from Jump Street. We assembled a team right in the beginning that changed all of this for me. Tommy, I'm honored to hear you say that. The haters can find reason to be mean. To be mean to you. Honored to know you. Well, I'm honored to know you too, Cindy Lou. True story. The people that got here right in the beginning changed this. It changed the mission. I've said this many, many times before. I really did want to save people. I really did. And I thought that with the amount of time that I had spent studying addiction, alcoholism, drug addiction, all of the things that went with it, I thought that take that and my ability to speak, which I had kind of been trained on, and I thought, you know what? I could probably help some people. I've said this many, many times, but it might have been a while since I said it. So if you're new to the boat, maybe this is the first time you've heard this. But the shocker for me, the takeaway that I didn't see coming, I just didn't see the ability to build relationships like we have. Honestly, that one was a shock. It's so much bigger than I ever thought it could be. I mean that. And I hope you get it. I really do mean that. There are people on this boat, and make no mistake, I love all of you. I just got a great thumbnail from somebody. I wish I could share it with you. It was slightly off color, but it was really funny. And if you were the one that just sent that, boy, you're right. But the truth is, people, that I never saw it coming. I didn't. I intended to keep doing what I was doing, and I was hoping to help people along the way. But I have friends that I've known since I was 13. And if one of those friends called and said, I need you right now, and then Alan Ballantyne called at the same time and said the same thing, I'd help Alan first. Just the truth. And people, I love everybody on this boat, but there are people that, for whatever reason, we tend to connect at a different level, or, we just have gotten to know each other better or whatever. There's no one on this boat that I wouldn't go to the wall for. It's the truth. There's no one on this boat I wouldn't go to the wall for. And I would like to believe that there is no one on this boat that has ever reached out in a time of need and had me come up short or say I couldn't help or anything like that. Thank you, Alan. People, I've said this a bunch, but it's the truth. If I'm having one of those days, Alan Ballantyne sends me an email or a direct message. Every time. It's like I can go, I'm having a bad day. Any minute, Alan's going to end up reaching out. As it should be. That is truly love for a family member. You know what? Great comment. C.W. Terry. Always fam. Always. But each of us should know your presence is always felt with me. You know what? I'm humbled, truthfully, by, again, people, I've said it a lot. I didn't see this part of it. I didn't see the cohesiveness coming together the way that it has. And, when I say I want you to tell me that I'm lucky, I'm not being funny. The thing that's sometimes overwhelming about what we do here on the lifeboat is that I get to lay some kind of claim to this. Honestly, people, if you realize we're different. I don't have to tell anybody here. This is different. It's different than a lot of the things that are out there. And we support one another in a way that is just really different. And because of the fact that you all met on the lifeboat, or, for those of you who have been here forever on the Tommy Scoville show or whatever, because of the fact that you all met here, my name gets put on that. And it's the most difficult thing in the world to deal with. And I know that Mark deals with it as well. You are lucky to have us. We're lucky to have you. Thanks, Charlie. I appreciate that. But the reason people that we seem like sometimes we get uncomfortable with the praise, it's because this has outgrown us. It's outgrown the goal. It's outgrown all of it. Really. If you missed last night's live feed, we lost a member of the boat. The guy that was on the boat drank himself to death. And I promise you that if I was eating Tide Pods, and M. Hunt, good to see you, bud. If I was eating Tide Pods and I was doing challenges and a sub or a fan passed away, I mean, you'd come on and you'd give it some lip service and you'd say, boy, we lost somebody that was a subscriber and, my heart goes out to his family or whatever. Yesterday was like getting kicked in the stomach by a horse. And don't comment in a second and say anything about me not blaming myself or anything else. Please save that. But it was like a kick in the stomach. And, as the captain of the boat, no matter how much you realize, and I told you yesterday, I know I couldn't have saved him, but I'll be damned if I didn't sit there and think, how could I have done it differently? That's the proof, people, that this is really different. You know, it really is. And after last night's live feed, a couple of people reached out to me. You know what? We lost one. But if his story, if the fact that somebody watched this last night and thought, you know, damn, he's really messed up by the fact that he lost somebody. Last night's live feed, in conjunction with the interview I did with Niall, brought somebody here that said, I'm in the process of drinking myself to death. If you hear this live feed, damn it, send me an email. I put my email address up. I do want to talk to you. He said in the comment, I would love to talk to you personally. If you're hearing this, reach out to me. I do want to talk to you. And it's more important than you think because it validates the death of somebody. And it takes what Niall did, which was open up his soul and bleed out onto the camera for you. It validates that. Really. You know, when we lose somebody, people, there's a reason I'm going to come here and I'm going to talk about it. When number 5 died, and I came here and I said, boy, do I want to get high. You know? This is a bitch of a day to get through. I would really like to get high. There was a person on this boat who came here that day. And maybe I'll ask them if they're cool with me giving their name. But it was that video. And if you've never seen that video, people, it was the most difficult video I've ever done. I cried through most of it. It was a tough video. But I came here and I was honest and I told everybody how I felt. But somebody that saw that video reached out and they're still on the boat. We're in such a unique position as a family to take suffering and turn it into something amazing. Honestly, the reason that I ask everybody here to share what's going on in your life is because it helps people. That, and I'm running a cult. I'm sorry, people. But I was actually accused of that because I asked you to write a goodbye letter to your drug of choice. I had a jackwagon say the reason I was doing that was to get dirt on you so I could blackmail you later. Apparently, this individual didn't realize I read those on the air. But anyway, the reason that I ask you people to tell your story, the reason that I ask you people to bleed the way that Niall did is because it does make a difference. I think you touched on something vital. We are damaged goods. After years of ducking and diving and being dishonest, we tend to feel unworthy. Here, people understand and relate. So I agree. Family. What a great comment. Holy mackerel. Did you hear that? I think you touched on something vital. We are damaged goods. After years of ducking and diving and being dishonest, we tend to feel unworthy. Here, people understand and relate. So I agree. Family. What a great comment. What a great comment. I don't know if Shannon is here tonight, but I wished her last night. I went to school with her. Oh my goodness. Her demons are winning. I appreciate the love we showed her. She definitely felt it. C.W. Terry, if you got the ability to get a hold of her, please ask her to email me. If you went to school with her, please ask her to email me. No pressure. We're not a cult. And, nothing like that. But boy, it would be great to talk to her. I read those comments. I would love to talk to her if I could. To the person that wants to drink to death, trust me, nobody wants to die that way. Ben Genetics, yeah, you're absolutely right. We lost one. We lost one yesterday. It's a terrible, terrible way to die. But she has to drink. You know what? Have her reach out to me drunk. I don't care. I don't. I mean, you know the drill. You can't make her. You can't. But tell her she can call me drunk. I'm not worried about it. Or email me and we'll talk. People never let drugs or alcohol keep somebody from reaching out. That would really be good. You can't make her, C.W. Terry, but you do try to let her know that I would really like to talk to her. That would be great. And yeah, people, keep her in your prayers. Please keep her in your prayers. And I'll tell you something else, people. I want to make sure we touch on this one more time. The link to the GoFundMe page is going to be over on the lifeboat. It should give you an idea. How long have you known me? Have I ever done this? Ever? It's not something that I do. It's not something I'm comfortable doing, really, as a rule of thumb. But we're doing this one because this one's legit and it's needed. And you know what? This is family. It really is. The best people to talk to when you are in that situation is the people that understand. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. It's a... Niall nailed it. That Niall's comment, I think, more than anything I've said today, actually, Niall's comment really hammers it home. You know, we spend so much time in the life ducking and dodging that we do, when it's all said and done and we get through it, we have that feeling of feeling like we're not worthy. And when you deal with normal people in society, as opposed to them reaching out and making, any kind of a gesture to understand, they make you feel more unworthy. There's a reason that addicts tend to gravitate toward one another, but I think this crew here is probably better at it than most. I really do. And you know what, Niall? We're better for you here. True story. I'm glad you're here, brother. I've had to call cops for a welfare check on a friend before. Thankfully, he's clean currently. You know something? I had a friend that didn't make it, but I remember when he was trying to get sober, and I was working with him, and one of the things when he was telling me his story, he said that in a 30-day period of time, the police were called to his house 26 times because he got so inebriated that they had to do health and welfare checks on him. Neighbors would call and say he's unconscious in the front yard again. And I said to him, that's almost every day of the month. He said the only reason it wasn't is because the last time they came, they arrested him. But every single day, this guy would just drink to the point where he would fall down. And it's a frightening thing to watch somebody spiral out of control. I think Niall did such an amazing job of describing that, that out of control kind of a lifestyle without giving it that much humor or that much glory. You know what I mean? The takeaway from that one was just, God, he nailed it. He really did, people. I have been sharing that. I have been sending that damn video to everybody I know. I've been sending it to people I don't know. It's just a great, great video. Alan Ballantyne. See, right after I say that, I would choose Alan Ballantyne over anybody else, he says, Flaming, you should try cheese and Vegemite. They go well together. You know what I would recommend too? Would be feces and Vegemite. Works beautifully. Taste a lot alike. Blood family might share a name or share a familiar appearance, but the crew shares the same damage. Oh, that's a great comment. That's a great comment. Seventh Son. Well played. And you know what, people? Somebody said something recently. I'm trying to think of who it was because it was one of you. But they were describing somebody on the boat, and they said, when they were describing the person, they said that they were so beautifully damaged. And I remember reading it because it was talking this way. And I remember reading it and then reading it again and reading it again. Beautifully damaged. It's probably not an expression you would hear somebody in the world outside of the boat ever say, but I understood it just the second that I read it. Just give me the hot sauce. Ben Genetics gets it. Well played. Well played. Ben Genetics gets it. But yeah, beautifully damaged. I kind of like to think of it. You remember, if you're new to the boat, maybe you don't remember, but I did the talk about that Japanese art that reveres things that are broken, and they put it back together with gold. So you'll see a beautiful vase, and it's been shattered, and they reassemble it with all of the little pieces, painstakingly putting this thing back together as a puzzle. And all of the lines and the cracks in that are lined with gold, and then it's smoothed out, and it's the most beautiful thing in the world. It really is. It will take your breath away. We are the dented cans on the discount shelf of the store. but all of our dents makes us stronger than the others. You know, I'll give you another example, people, and shocker, this is going to come back to watches, oddly enough. When you look at a watch, the initial design of a watch comes out in such a way, and they have lines on them, right? You design it like you would a car or anything else, and you look at it, and there are lines, very distinctive cut corners and shapes. In fact, hold on, here we go. All right, so you look at that, and right along the edges and all of these places have very distinctive lines, right? And it is designed in such a way so that it will look specific as it puts on your wrist. As they get older, people take them into stores and they get them buffed. And that buffing will take all of the imperfections out of it. It will smooth it out. But it will also smooth out the edges. And what happens is those things become rounded, and you look at a watch and you go, oh, it's been polished, right? If it had the scars still in it from the person that wore it the first time, if it had all of the scratches and the nicks and all of those markings, it's worth 4 times as much. People don't want a polished watch. They want an unpolished watch. And it makes the value so much more. And I'll tell you what, people, it's like human beings. It really is. You can polish. How do you do that? You fake it. For real, you fake it. As a human being, the way you don't show your scars is you don't talk about them. You blend into that other part of society, and you just walk in there. And, you know, I can walk into a room, people. You should see me in a suit. I shave this puppy off, and I walk into a suit, and I can talk with the best of them. I could walk right into that room, and you would never know I'm a bank robber. You would never know I'm a heroin addict. You would never know the things that I did in my life. But you know what? You wouldn't know Tommy. You wouldn't. You'd know some fake facsimile of Tommy that I was trying to represent to the world. Well, I'll be damned if I want to live in that world. Seriously. If the people that can't handle who I was, F them. By that, of course, I mean forget them, right? Forget them. When I walk into that room, I want everyone to know my scars. I'll be really honest with you. I think they're beautiful. I do. Scars aren't beautiful when they're open and oozing. See, those are wounds. Wounds aren't very attractive. Scars are. I think they're sexy. There's something about a scar that says, I was there, I did that, look at it now. You know? The legacy of being a person whose life was unlived gave me the moment of clarity. We deserve more. You know something, Niall? I gotta say this, man. I really do. People, you've heard him say it. You've read it in comments. Niall said, you know, if I could affect one person, Niall, I honestly, today, I asked 3 different people. I said, hey, is it cool if I mention to him that you said this? Because I'm putting together a list of people who said, you have no idea how that touched my life. That's awesome, honestly. And people, it should give you hope that what you're doing is bigger. You know, it's bigger than just sharing your story. It's bigger than just being honest. It's bigger than all of that. It really is. It's changing lives. It's giving people hope. It's making people think, if that cat can do it, I can do it. I love all of you. If I disappear for a week, don't worry. I will try to be back ASAP. I go through stages. Tend to go into a cocoon for a while. I come out better than before. Truth, if you disappear for a week, you take the damn time to send me an email and let me know that you're disappearing for a week. We're family. You have every right to disappear for a week. Just send me an email that says, hey, everything's cool. Because I'm not going to lie to you, people. When you people disappear, it stresses the hell out of me. That's what family goes through. So you can't say out of one side of your mouth that we're all family and out of the other side of your mouth say, I'm too busy to do that. Just shoot me a line and say, hey, I'm working on me or whatever. That goes to all of you, not just him. If you're going to be away for a while, don't keep dad stressing or uncle or brother or whatever you want to call me. Don't stress me out. Just send me a little note, email, direct message, whatever that says, working on me, I'll be back. Please. I had a dream while in depression of a scar bursting open and not healing. I'm trying to heal those wounds permanently. I love it. I love it. And will do, Captain. I don't mind doing that. We are family. Thank you, man. It means the world to me. It really does. It means the world to me. You know, I got a friend that always says to me, you know what? I sent you a text. Always seems to happen when I'm live. And then they'll say to me, you know what? I sent you a text and you didn't even acknowledge it. Just in case that person happens to be watching, I got your text. Very, very funny, dude. He's probably not watching, but anyway. I feel it too. Thank you. Praying for you, Truth. You know what, people? Of all of the people that said something nice about Niall, the one that really touched me was Miss V. Because obviously there was a period of time there where she didn't think the world of him. For real. But boy, she does now. And it says so much, people. And it's why that if we do this right, you come out, you tell your story, you let people know who you are, you let people see who you are, because this goes so far. It really does. And picture me for a minute. Honestly, you people see me for what? If you're Seventh Son or you're, Flamin' or you're any Miss V, the people that are here day in, day out, you see me for 7 hours a week. I talk about everything. You see me, you hear me. And then there are people that I do this with all the time. And it's great when I get a chance to see you. It's great when I get a chance to hear your story. Just look at what Niall's story has done to how you feel about him. You can't tell me you don't love Niall. I mean, for real. Brilliant analogy with the watch, Tommy. Brilliant metaphor. Thank you. And it's the truth. You know what I mean? This is the watch thing is something that I'm really, really into. And I'm into vintage. I don't collect new watches. I collect very, very old watches. And it's the first question. The first question is it running? The second question is, has it been polished? Don't BS me, right? I want a watch that shows every damn scar. Honestly, I want a watch that shows it's been nicked and worn, because although you see those scars, nothing's fake. There's nothing about it that isn't real. And more than anything else, that's what we're looking for. Cindy Lamb says, Niall, love and honored to know you. That looks like a 41 squirrel salute, which is always good. You can't go wrong with a squirrel salute. People, if you knew just how reliable this pussycat is, when I talked about getting an office cat, T. Prada says, I love pocket watches. I have a beautiful, beautiful collection of pocket watches. If I am on the air, this cat is right next to me. Honestly, I cannot remember the last time that I did a live feed where Squirrel did not crawl into this basket and go to sleep. She is here please show us Squirrel. Look at that. Timing was impeccable. Yeah, there's Squirrel. Squirrel hangs out in the basket every single time I go to work. Squirrel is here. And Mark is going to be editing some Squirrel stuff so that we can get it put up. I've got some very, very funny footage of Squirrel. Squirrel is literally a shoulder kitty. The only trouble is she launches herself at me to land on my back. I've got some very funny pictures of me walking around with Squirrel perched on my back. She will literally sleep up there on my back, which is just funny stuff. People, I have got 1 minute left on the air. Please, I would say wait about 5 minutes, maybe 10, then go over to the lifeboat, get a look at the post that Joe Birdwell is going to put up there, because Joe is going to put up a post with a link on how you can help out his mom. People, imagine walking out of the house right now with the clothing that you have on your back, turning around and the rest of it being gone. Think about it. That's exactly what happened. This is a person that walked out with clothing on her back and everything else that she owned is gone. It's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. The good news is, Joe, is also that I have spoken to Mark, and Mark is going to do this, and he's going to do it on his channel. The lifeboat is this big. Great. Best people on the planet, but it's this big. Wages World is this big. And they're a great group of people. And we foresee an awful lot of help coming from that, which is good stuff. But Mark said he can't wait to go and do that. He's dealing with some stuff right now with family, but he is going to be taking care of that as well. People, you're my family. I chose you. Make no mistake, you're my family. I love you people. That's no BS. I love you people. The reason that I come here and I do this every single day is because I love you. I mean it. So keep being you. Keep coming back. Joe Birdwell, here. You hear me? Don't make me come looking for you. Here. That's where you're going to be. All right? Niall, I love you, bud. To each and every one of you. Alan Ballantyne, you know how I feel, but there's nobody on this boat that I wouldn't jump into a fist fight for. Believe that. Be it spiritual, emotional, or physical, I would fight for every single one of you, and I will never stop doing that until they close the box. Capiche? I'm Captain Tommy Scoville. Between now, DJ Daddy-O, speaking of good people, between now and the next time we get together, which will probably be tomorrow night at this time, you know what I want you to do, right? I want you to reach out, and I want you to try to save somebody. It's what we do. And as promised, cat in a basket. Oh, can you see that? That's the head. There we go. Stick your head up there. Say goodbye, squirrel. What a cute kitty, huh? All right. I love you people. We'll see you tomorrow night. I'm Captain Tommy Scoville. This was the lifeboat. Good night, people. First try? How about that?